Hello, I'm Lori Steiner, sitting in for Armin Budish. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, we'll get a read on the 87-year-old mother of Good Morning America's Robin Roberts in a new book when we interview the author. Don't just grin and bear it. We'll share ways to restore your smile. Then, we'll have a class in art history to learn the history of Cleveland's Museum of Art. Plus, we'll set you up to strike back against strokes. And how you can inspire your kids and grandkids even when you're gone.
It's time to get geoing, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. Storyteller, speaker, and popular author are three hats that our next guest is used to wearing. Missy Buchanan is on the heels of traveling throughout the state of Ohio, promoting her positive message for older adults in what's being called her Leaning into Life book tour. We are pleased to have Missy here today along with David Schell, the Executive Director of Breckenridge Village Not-for-Profit Retirement Community in Willoughby. So welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So first of all, this is your Leaning into Life tour.
Yes.
So what does that mean, and what got you started writing books about older individuals?
You know, when you think about leaning into life, I consider that our culture tells us that young is better. And it's pushing this way. And yet we have older adults who are dealing with real life challenges of aging. And my goal is to encourage them to lean forward into that, you know, that culture, to be a counterculture, as you would, that values aging over youth. So I started writing because my own parents, that they reached a point in their life, and I realized one day that they were not being spiritually nourished. They could no longer attend their own churches, and it just was very... It hurt me to think about that they were at that point kind of in a spiritual desert, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so I began to write for my own parents, not intending to write a book, but it all evolved, and now...
Sometimes that's how it happens,
It absolutely does, yeah.
All right, that's fantastic. So we hear about adult children who are overwhelmed, you know, the sandwich generation, overwhelmed with taking care of everybody and taking care of their parents. They've got their own home, their own family, their own work going on. So your latest book is called My Story, My Song, and it deals with a famous mother-daughter team. So tell us about the book.
It does. Robin Roberts of Good Morning America and her 88-year-old mother, Lucy Marianne. And actually, it's a memoir of Lucy Marianne's life and all the obstacles that she's overcome in her lifetime. Everything from racial injustice to health issues to Hurricane Katrina to losing a loved one. And then Robin writes a reflection on each one. But Lucy Marianne and I sat down for hours at a stretch, and she would tell me her stories. And I had them on tape, and I would write, you know, in my notebook, and then go back and begin to shape those into the book. But it was very interesting when I met with Robin and Lucy Marianne in person when we filmed a segment for Good Morning America, to watch Robin's eyes as she began to well with tears because she was talking about her mother. You know, it was a very personal thing.
Personal, yes.
And you realize that even though Lucy Marianne is a celebrity mom, you know, that family is still going through the same issues as so many else. Yeah, exactly.
And David, I understand your mom's at Breckenridge, and Missy was able to make a presentation there. So tell us what that all means to your mom. And
well, it's great. We do a wonderful speaker series, and as far as engaging in learning and continuing education. But before I go too far, Missy and Lori, I have to say hi, Mom. So so we'll get a hi, Mom, in there. But she's been a resident at Breckenridge, and my stepfather is in the special care unit with Alzheimer's disease. But my mother kind of lives out what Missy talks about. She writes letters to multiple generations every week. She's engaged with her rug hooking group and a lot of folks that do a lot of things. So it's kind of just kind of seeing it all happen in front of us.
And so you'll be out promoting the book, and if somebody's interested in buying the book, you have a website, I understand?
Actually, I do. Very original, MissyBuchanan.com. and that will take them to all sorts of places that they can go to get the book and other resources.
Good. All right. This all sounds great. The title again for Missy's new book is My Story, My Song. My thanks to David Schell and Missy Buchanan for joining us on the program today.
Find out more by calling Breckenridge Village at 440-954-8359 or log on to www.breckenridgeohio.org. Next, we'll bring a smile to your face. But first, he won the Nobel Peace Prize and served as Vice President of our country. His credits are obviously noteworthy, but you may be surprised to find that you can still carry his tune today. Can you name the musical mind who inaugurated the melody, "It's All in the Game"? We'll compose an answer when we return.
For us, the Arctic is almost impossible to inhabit, but for the families that live here, it's home. Warner Brothers Pictures and IMAX invite you to experience a story of love, family, and survival in the harshest place on Earth. To the Arctic, narrated by Meryl Streep with songs by Paul McCartney, rated G.
Now playing at Great Lakes Science Center. Get showtimes at greatscience.com.
Back in 1912, before serving as vice president to Calvin Coolidge, Charles Dawes composed the music for "It's All in the Game." But folks turned a deaf ear to his tune until 1951, when Tommy Edwards elected to turn it into a hit.
This just in. There's breaking news in the world of dentistry. From mercury in fillings to warnings about x-rays, dental headlines seem to be in the news. To get the real facts behind the headline hype, we've brought in our intrepid dentist from the front lines, Steve Marsh.
Thanks, and I appreciate the chance to respond to these things.
So welcome to the show. Well, let's start first with the mercury in fillings. I mean, I got them. Everybody got them as children. Should we be really worried at this point?
Well, the short answer is no. In fact, I had, when I was a kid, my dad was my dentist, I had mercury, silver fillings. They're about half mercury. If they're intact and they're doing well, there seems to be no worry, no problems with it. When they start to break down, then we have to worry about them. And the biggest reason is actually not the mercury as much as it is, as a dentist puts in a filling to replace a cavity, we actually have to take out the decay and then widen it and increase the size to accommodate the filling. And that's why so many of our viewers will have broken fillings and things as they get older and broken teeth.
Yeah, there's so much mercury in there.
And it didn't hold the tooth together, so today we use bonded fillings. And it's funny, last year I did a segment with Channel 3's Monica Robbins, and it actually went viral because there's such an interest in this discussion.
Okay, so broken teeth, that's a problem. Another concern for mercury fillings?
One of my concerns is, and everybody's concern should be environmental. To do a silver filling, again, half mercury, it's mixed up in a little container. The containers are then thrown out. It can get into our environment, wastewater, and that sort of thing. So we quit using them 15 years ago, and I think as we move forward, we should all quit using them. This is a patient that came in, and here's exactly what we were talking about. You can see a big silver filling she told me was put in 30 years ago, and she broke off a corner of that and also broke off part of the tooth. We had to clean all that out. There was decay in it. We then used a caries dye, it's called, to make sure all the decay was out. So that's how that tooth was opened up, and then we restored it temporarily with a bonded filling. I say temporarily because there was so much gone. Ultimately, you want a crown to hold that together. But in the meantime, now we know it's clear of decay, and it's pretty stable because of that bonded filling. So, and it looks a lot better too.
Yeah, it certainly does. You can't
Sure.
really see that it's there. So, okay, so that's one of the issues that we've been hearing about. How about protecting from x-rays, even dental x-rays? You know, is that a harmful thing, or what's going on?
No, you know what, the thing about dental x-rays is dentists need them to be able to see and diagnose. We can't see between teeth. We're not supermen or superwomen on the other hand. And so we need dental x-rays. They say a full set of x-rays, which is 18, which we do in our office about every 3 years, is like being in the sun for about 3 minutes. So it's really not a problem, and again, it's important for us to have them. We also take bite wings. That's usually 4 films, and we do that about once a year. And I'll tell you, Lori, in my own practice, in my own family, we do those. There are some concerns, and so you need to protect yourselves. We use digital x-rays. It's 90% less radiation. Here's a patient in our chair. You also see a lead shield, and what's important in this picture is a thyroid collar, because we do want to minimize any exposure regardless of the amount of radiation. So all dentists should be using a thyroid collar. When we take them digitally, this is what the patient sees. It comes out up on the computer. For me, as a teacher, I like to be able to show people what's going on, and I can take each of those individual x-rays and blow them up as big as the screen. And so if there's a problem, whether it's a cavity or it's gum disease or bone problems, we can actually look at that together, and I think if people understand their dental problems, they do much better. This is actually the digital sensor. It looks big on the screen. It's about 1 inch in diameter. One of the other, we talked about environment with mercury. When we use the sensor, it's sterilized between patients. The good news is there's no paper or lead foil that again gets thrown out into the environment. So that digital sensor works very well and allows us to show you your x-rays and results right away.
Okay, and there's a lot more things that are out in the news and everything. I wish we had time to talk about all of them here today, but we'll have you come back.
And one of the things we'll talk about is implants, because they're getting a lot of notoriety. They've been around for a long time, and whether we use them to help hold a denture or for a single tooth, implants can help in many ways, and that'll be something we can explore in the future.
Absolutely, it's always good information. So now. This has been news that we can use. My thanks to Steve Marsh for going behind the scenes to get us the real story. And for more on the latest updates in dentistry, check out Steve's blog on his website. Just use the information that's coming up next.
See what Dr. Stephen Marsh can do for your smile by calling 440-461-1003 or visit www.clevelandsmiles.com. Next, coloring in the history of our art museum. Looking for places to go, things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. A unique exhibit is currently on display at the Maltz Museum of Jewish Heritage through August 5th. A blessing to one another, Pope John Paul II and the Jewish people follows the life of this beloved leader, from his childhood to his papacy. Visitors become a part of the documentary by walking through a multi-sensory experience. To immerse yourself, call the Maltz Museum at 216-593-0575 or visit their website, www.maltzmuseum.org.
A visit to the Cleveland Museum of Art can put you in a great frame of mind as you enjoy all the color, light, and style. And we're on solid ground when we say that this art experience begins even before you walk in the door, thanks to the manicured masterpieces of the Fine Arts Garden and the surrounding lawns. Tom Hornberger is the ground supervisor, and he's here to paint the picture of how the museum is restoring their landscape to their original 1930s vision. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We know that there's restoration and conservation with regard to these fine paintings and works of art in the art museum. Well, we didn't realize that there was also for the grounds around it. So, how does it work in the gardens and grounds?
Well, basically, back in 1930s, the Olmsted brothers drew a plan up, a landscape plan up, how they wanted the Fine Arts Garden to look, which is basically located in the south entrance of the museum, the 1916 building. And over the years, what we've been basically trying to do is put it back to its original plan, which has kind of got it a little off course.
Okay. So things were changed around. What have you needed to do in order to get the garden back to its original roots?
Okay. All right. In short, we've kind of like turned around. We moved, removed, and added new trees. We met with Banking Associates, sat down with them, and went through the whole drawing, as you can see in the pictures. And basically, we took an inventory survey of the whole facilities that we had there, showing some of the original stock and so forth in there. And what we're trying to do is put it back to its original place, replacing some of the plant material with the same or better species that are available now to date.
Okay, so you've still got the old plans.
Yes.
So you're just using that to now redevelop it.
Correct.
For the 2000s and everything. So, and you've sown seeds of change, but it's going to take some time to grow, I'm assuming, right?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, we've, over the years, we have planted a lot of new trees, and when you look around the museum, you'll see some of them that have been for like 10 years and so forth, as you see in the picture right now. And if you look to the left, well, now you can see some of the smaller ones that we planted just recently last year, which were trees that were actually donated by the Women's Council. They had donated 12 trees, which they're basically very well helping us out. They're affiliated with the museum and help out with special events and that type of thing.
And they're just donating the cost of the trees?
Yeah, to beautify the gardens, basically, is what it is.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So we're going to watch this landscape masterpiece just evolve and grow over time, right?
Yes.
And I noticed in the pictures that you had provided here that it's a lot of green space, not so many flower beds or blooming plants or anything. Right. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, when you look around here, basically what we're trying to do is create a nice open green space for people to come and relax and enjoy on a sunny afternoon, Sunday, whatever day they may want to come out and so forth. And our main focus is actually on the museum. We want people to go out there and enjoy it, but the main focus is on the museum and the artwork within the museum. That's our main goal.
But the grounds can be preparing your mind and opening up your senses to be able to enjoy
It's nice sometimes to go out there when you have a little bit extra time, whether it's work or lunchtime or whatever, and just relax and kind of forget things. It's relaxing.
Okay. And I know people must love this landscaping. It's relaxing. You walk around the paths. It kind of leads you in. So you mentioned something about the plain dealer with the garden.
Yeah, as we just like the cherry blossoms you have in Washington and so forth, we do very well with the cherry blossoms here up in Cleveland. And this year was beautiful. We were in the plain dealer numerous times. They're very proud to come down and take pictures, and we're used as a photo background quite a bit.
The plain dealer reporters like it there. I think the
yes,
people like it there.
We enjoy
so
it.
Is it just you handling all of this?
No, I'm very lucky. Very lucky.
Heavy lifting in the garden?
No, I've got 6 guys that work with me, and I couldn't have made it possible without my crew. They do a fantastic job. It's a job that keeps us year-round going, whether planting, pruning, mulching, trimming, edging, all those go together and just kind of keeps us going year-round.
Okay, full-time job.
Yes.
Even in the wintertime, there's something to be done out there. Huh? Keep it looking nice for the spring. So, there absolutely is beauty in nature, and thanks to Tom Hornberger and his crew, there's artistry as well. Plant yourself at the Fine Arts Garden at the Cleveland Museum of Art to see for yourself.
To learn more, call the Cleveland Museum of Art at 1-877-262-4748 or click to www.clevelandart.org. Next, staving off strokes.
It's time to get up and go. An exercise minute on golden opportunities.
Hello everybody, I'm Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and today we're going to do a chest press. This exercise is going to be done laying on the floor. Okay, so we're going to lay back here. You want your feet at an angle, feet flat on the ground. We're going to use some dumbbells today. You ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right. Remember, 16-ounce can equals 1 pound of weight if you don't have dumbbells at home. You want your arms out to your side at a 90-degree angle. Your arms should become an extension of your shoulders, basically. And what we're going to do is press them straight up in the air, touch them together. Great, good job, and back down nice and slow. Remember, always use slow and controlled movements throughout the process. Straight up and straight down. This is going to work our chest muscles. How you feeling over there?
Great. Where's the nurse?
All right, everybody. Now it's your turn to get up and go.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, please send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 23240 Chagrin Boulevard, Suite 450, Beechwood, Ohio, 44122.
On average, every 40 seconds, someone in the United States has a stroke, which is the 3rd leading cause of death in our country. Would you know if you or a loved one was experiencing a stroke? And would you know where the best place would be to turn for help? Dr. Joseph Hanna can help us with both of these questions. Dr. Hanna is the medical director of the Primary Stroke Center at Metro Health. Glad to have you on the show here today to talk about this.
Great to be here.
It seems like in the news there's more strokes than ever before. Is that really true?
That is. And there's 2 major reasons why. One, baby boomers, we're getting older, and as we get older, we accumulate some rust, and some of our rust can lead
flake off and
give us a stroke. And the second thing is we have this technology called magnetic resonance imaging, and magnetic resonance imaging can show us strokes even when we don't know we have them. About 15% are silent, so we're finding strokes we didn't know we had.
Okay, that's an MRI, right? For most people don't know what the other is.
That's right.
So give us the basics. What exactly is a stroke, and what are the symptoms of a stroke?
There are 2 major types of strokes. The biggest type is when a blood vessel gets clogged up with something and doesn't get enough blood to a region of the brain. We call that ischemic stroke. That's about 85% of stroke. The other 15% is hemorrhage, and the hemorrhage occurs because a blood vessel ruptures and causes you not to work right in one part of your body or another.
Okay, and the symptoms?
The symptoms can be anything you can think of. Anything you can sense or do can be a symptom of a stroke. The most common ones, though, would be a disturbance in your ability to talk, a speech disturbance,
a weakness of one side of your face, especially your right or your left side of your face, or an inability to, use a limb, like an arm, an arm weakness. So we can say this fast idea, face, arm, speech, and time, where face is face being weak, arm being weak, speech is a disturbance of speech, and time is you got to get to somebody quickly in order to take care of this for us.
Okay, so time is of the essence in this.
Yeah, time is always of the essence.
Metro is a primary stroke center, one of only 700 in the country. That's amazing to me. Now, what does it mean to a person who has a stroke to get to a primary stroke center?
Primary stroke centers are set up in a way so you can get immediate care for your stroke. You get a drug called TPA, which is the only approved therapy for immediate care of stroke. What it does is it augments or accelerates your own process for dissolving strokes, dissolving clots, and that alleviates the stroke itself.
Oh, much more quickly. So is there a window in which you got to get that treatment, or it's...
The window is as soon as possible, but you have up to about 6 hours at the extreme window.
You don't want to waste time. You want to get to that emergency room. So if you go to an emergency room that's not a stroke center, they're going to send people to a primary stroke center like Metro Health?
They're going to try. They're going to do their best to get you to one of us.
Okay, so the initial treatment is very important. How about rehab after the stroke?
The sooner you get into an accredited rehab program, the better off you'll do with the stroke. The more you sit around and just allow your disability to linger, the more it's apt to linger for longer periods.
Okay, and there's speech therapy, occupational therapy, all the traditional kind of therapies for strokes?
All of those are done, all those and more. Depending upon what's wrong with you, the rehab physician, the specialist, called a physiatrist, determines which rehab types you should have and for how long you should have them. He sets up the course.
Okay, and in addition to the one-on-one kind of people therapy, there's also computer therapy?
Yeah, we have computer therapy for a lot of different things these days. It allows us to give you more therapy than the therapist can. We've got cognitive computer therapy, motor computer therapy, sensory computer therapy that helps us enhance your recovery rate.
Oh, sounds fantastic. At least there's hope for stroke victims. So. Yeah. FAST is more than an important list of stroke symptoms. It's also a reminder to seek help fast, to get treatment fast, and to begin rehab fast. My thanks to Dr. Hanna for sharing his vast knowledge on this subject.
To request a free stroke information toolkit, visit metrohealth.org/stroke. For more information on the Stroke and Cerebrovascular Center, call 216-778-3958. Next, give your kids and grandkids incentive to improve their lives.
They haven't been inducted to a Hall of Fame. They don't get stopped for autographs or photos. They don't have entourages or shoe deals. But they still deserve our applause and admiration because they are fighters, believers, heroes. We are the Metro Health System. We are the proud sponsor of the comeback.
Did you miss a phone number or website? Then here's a second chance, because we're going to list all that information again. Then we'll be back to tell you how to make your children do what you say, even after you're gone. Wouldn't it be nice if you could inspire your children or grandchildren to be better people, to adopt certain good actions? Maybe you would like them to go to college, or to earn good grades, or to get a good job, or stay away from drugs and alcohol. Well, you may be able to get the results you're dreaming about with an incentive trust. Here to explain is my law partner who needs no incentive to give us trustworthy advice, Mike Solomon.
Hey, Lori.
So now you're Dr. Spock, and you're telling us how to make our children and grandchildren be better people.
Well, I'm not Dr. Spock. I'm not even Mr. Spock. But you know, basically what you can do is, rather than just simply leaving your inheritance to your children or grandchildren, and then it's theirs to spend, you use an incentive trust and incentivize them and how put some controls on the money.
So how does that work?
Well, for example, let's say you have on death, your assets go into a trust and you want to encourage your child to go to college. Then the trust says when the child graduates from college, they get a certain amount from the trust. Or maybe you want to make sure the child, the grandchild, gets a job, gets a real employment. You might say you will match how much you make from your job from the trust. The trust will pay that out. Or maybe your child has drug problems or may have drug problems. You can put in the trust documents, language that says if they're clean for a year, they get a certain amount of money and so on. Incentives like that.
Okay. Does it work?
Well, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but I've seen some situations where it's worked and it really worked well.
Oh, great. So are they only for rich people, though?
No, not really. I mean, you can provide, obviously money is a big factor, and the more money you have, the greater incentive. But even smaller amounts of money can still be a great incentive for people to change their behavior.
That's absolutely true, and even after you're not around.
That's right, that's right.
Is there any other way that you can actually inspire the children to accomplish the same kind of thing without something like an incentive trust?
Not really. I mean, if you have a joint account and they get it when you pass away, then it's free. They can use it any way they want. A will doesn't do it either. If you just say on will you inherit these assets, they get the money straight out. So beneficiary designation is the same thing. So the money has to be controlled with an incentive trust if you want to provide some sort of controls on the money.
Is this incentive trust just your run-of-the-mill trust, or is it something special?
It's something special. You've got to make sure the trust language does what it is you want. It's really specific to you.
Okay, well, that sounds like good advice for, taming the evil children after you're dead.
Right.
So. As parents, we try to teach our kids and grandkids how to be better people. Now we can continue those lessons even after we're gone with an incentive trust. For more information, give Mike Solomon a call. His number is next.
Call Budish, Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information, or to schedule a speaker for your organization, or log on to www.budishandsolomon.com.
Thanks for joining us. On next week's show, you're one of a kind, and the hearing aid you should use should be just as special. We'll aid you in this effort. Do you mesh with crafting? We'll show you how. Then, in this election year, will our stocks be winners? Plus, we'll unfold battle plans for fighting heart failure. And if your spouse goes into a nursing home, make sure you get the extra money you're entitled to. Until next week, please remember to make the most of your golden opportunities.
Would you like to join our kitchen conversation? All you have to do is call toll-free 1-877-765-1543 and leave us your question, name, and phone number. Or log on to www.golden.tv for all the latest information and show updates.